Hello there, Ray here, and today we have a brand new snapshot for 1.18 Caves and Cliffs Part 2, and that is 21W39A. This includes brand new 1.18 advancements and many other changes. The first big change that they did is they let you actually update your 1.17 worlds to 1.18. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Just press that, and it is going to warn us to make a backup before using this version because it could corrupt it forever. So I already made a copy, so I click I know what I'm doing, and let's load her up. So the world load up, and this is my world with all my different farms. There's a new shulker farm, which I'll be showing you guys in the future. But the new change with this is that actually they let you have the deeper worlds, just like in 1.18. So typically the world would have ended right around here where I have these barrier blocks, but now they have 64 more blocks below it as well as above it. But when converting worlds over, they're just going to automatically make everything underneath air currently. They will eventually change it so that underneath is going to be the new cave biomes in the appropriate worlds. They also came out with 1.18 specific new advancements. The first new advancement is playing music in a meadow biome, and you get the advancement Sound of Music, which says make the meadows come alive with the sound of music from a jukebox. And a funny thing is, one of the Minecraft developers actually mentioned a reference of Sound of Music and the meadow one time, referring to meadows as the things that were in the Sound of Music. There's also advancements for falling from the very top of the world all the way to the very bottom of the world. I did this by having a hole dug out, and I got the new advancement, which is called Caves and Cliffs. Free falling from the top of the world, build limit, to the bottom of the world, and survive. I do this in a creative, but you could do this with just a bit of water sitting down here. You don't actually have to go deep into the bedrock. You can just go to the top of the bedrock. There's also another advancement, which is called Feels Like Home, where you can take a strider for a long ride on a lava lake in the overworld. To get this one, you have to at least walk 50 meters on a strider in the overworld. Another new advancement is trading with a villager at the very top of the world. This is called Star Trader. Trade with a villager at the build height limit. You can use bubble columns to get the villagers up here. It doesn't have to be perfectly at the very top. For any of you guys that play with the default brightness, it's typically at 0 when you get the game for the first time, but now they change it so the default will be at 50%. I personally like it at bright, especially for recording because YouTube makes everything darker. They made a change for the dripstone cave biome. Now drowns are able to spawn inside these biomes, when typically it was just oceans and rivers. And as these biomes are bigger than rivers, it's possible to now make bigger farms instead of being limited by the width of the river. And in these biomes, they also made it so zombies will no longer spawn in them, which now means it's possible to get farms that are just creepers and skeletons mostly by placing your farm inside of a dripstone biome. But it does mean that you're going to have to find one that's near the surface and that's not too low down, so you have to remove a lot of other materials. Now if meadows have lone trees, they will always have a bee nest. Buried treasure chests can now have potions of water breathing inside them, which is a great addition so you can go on and do some underwater caving. The more technical changes that they did include the new triggers that they added for the advancements of work. So they got one called Fall from Height, they got one called Radiant Entity in Lava, and they also have one called Nether Travel. For loot tables, they have a new function called Set Potion, and they also came in with some world data chunk formatting. They also came in with some resource pack formatting for the new inventory GUIs. They also did some server bundling restructuring. They also came in and fixed some older bugs as well as newer ones. They fix a few bugs to do with status effects. These are the little indications in the top right as well as in the inventory when you open up to show that you have an effect. The first one they fixed is that these status effects weren't showing up when you would open up your crafting recipes in the past. So now when you get effects, they'll be off to the right hand side while you're in the creative menu. And if you're in survival, they'll still be off to the right hand side. And the one in the top right will vanish and the one when the inventory is open. And if you have the recipe book opened up, the effects still show up. And the size of these icons will automatically change depending on the size of your Minecraft screen. So if I make it big, then they'll get big again. Also, these black pixels that go around the border are missing on the bottom side. They added those in. Plus, icon will also show up even if you're in creative while you get the effect. And now the inventory will no longer get moved over when you get a potion effect. So notice it's in the center, and if I look at it now, the whole thing is off to one side and not above my hotbar. I was hoping that they would fix this bug to do with potion effects when leaving the end dimension. So I got effect. As soon as I leave it, notice that I don't have it anymore, which I find is quite strange, and it shouldn't be like that, as it doesn't work that way when you go into the end dimension or other portals. They also resolved the problem of bamboo generating underneath of jungle biomes inside of caves, as well as sugarcane doing a similar thing. There was a weird bug that typing in single player sometimes caused lag, which now it no longer does. Another problem that they fixed is that in some cases when the game would try to place in features, it would actually crash your game. You guys might remember the big problem with kelp when 1.13 came out. That is, they would constantly keep growing until they reached the very high limit of the water, and then they would look really ugly being all the same size, and they would all be creating updates as they were growing the entire time. And back in 1.13, they found a fix for this, which was making the age of kelp between 20 and 23, meaning that it would only grow a little bit before it would stop. This same problem is now occurring with the cave vines, also known as glowberries, where they have a lower age than kelp, meaning that they often grow all the way down to the ground and cause a whole bunch of updates along the way. So now cave vines will be between ages 23 and 25 when generated in these caves. In 1.18, in the F3 menu, it shows stuff about the terrain, including where you're at within the continent, the erosion number, the temperature number, and the humidity number. And there was a problem that inland continents were always at the same erosion of 3, temperature of 2, and humidity of 2, no matter the type of biome, which is now resolved. In my previous snapshot review video, we talked about how Bedrock added this change where old chunks that have the bedrock at Y level 0 will be converted to mineable blocks, and they will add in the whole new deep 1.18 caves below them. And I thought they were talking about a toggle option here to choose to have your chunks update or not update. But it sounds like this toggle option is just to actually play in 1.18, which is different than how Java does it. So it seems like pretty much all chunks are going to be changed over from the shallow world with the bedrock at Y0 to that bedrock being removed and the world being extended all the way down to -64 and then bedrock below that. And they're talking about chunks previously upgraded with bedrock underneath will not see this change. And I think they're talking about people in the bedrock edition who already upgraded their worlds to a previous 1.18 using the caves and cliffs experimental toggle, and the bottom of the world just covered in the bedrock block item. So from 0 all the way down to -64, which is solid bedrock. And they're saying that those worlds are not going to update to having the caves underneath them. It's a little confusing because they use bedrock with a capital B, which made me think they're referring to the bedrock edition rather than bedrock the item. So what this all means is that Java edition probably won't get an option to keep your old chunks the way they are and only have the new stuff in new chunks. It seems like it might be kind of mandatory where old chunks also get updated. Now I'm sure there's going to be ways for us to circumvent this, especially with like third-party programs like Amulet, where you can copy structures and move them in, or even hold chunks and move them in and out. So it'll be interesting to see how they implemented this change into the Java edition. Join us in testing all these new features over on my Twitch stream, which you can hop into this world with me as we try everything out. You can find the IP on my Discord, and big thanks to Bisect Hosting for hosting these servers. You can get 25% off your first month with the code RAY or with the link in the description. And doing so will support me making this all possible. I would like to thank all you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in game. Bye-bye!